Hey guys, today we're starting 7-7 Part B, and this section is going to be focusing on reflections. We're still doing transformations. The last lesson you just did was on translations, just moving an object, but today our new lesson is going to focus specifically on reflections, so taking an image and reflecting it over to the other side of a coordinate plane. So a transformation, that this is review, is a change in a figure's position or in its size. And then the different kinds that we're going to talk about in this lesson are translations we've already done, rotations, which we haven't done yet, and then reflections, which we're doing today. And then the resulting figure, or what we would call image, like if we had a figure, the image is going to be like figure with a dash, of a translation, rotation, or reflection is going to be congruent, meaning that's got the same angles and the same sides as the original figure. So a reflection, the one that we're doing specifically today, flips a figure across a line. So it's either going to be the y-axis or the x-axis for our lesson today. And it's going to create that mirror image. So the rules that we're going to use, we're just using two different ones. If we're going across the y-axis, we're going to take each x coordinate and make it negative, or the opposite sign of what it was. And if we're crossing the x-axis, we're going to change the y coordinate and make it the opposite sign of what it is, timesing them both by -1. So let's go ahead and start with some samples, some examples. So number 1, we've got reflections. Graph the reflection of triangle ABC across the y-axis. So if we look at our rule for our y-axis, we're going to X out this one because we're not using it. And it's really hard to see because it's so little, but you've got a bigger copy on your paper. But we're going to multiply each x coordinate by a -1. So our x coordinates would be these guys right here. So for our letter A, which is 4, 4, we're going to take 4 and multiply that times -1. So our image is going to be at -4, 4. So come over here to our picture, and we're going to start at 0. We're going to walk to -4 and then ride the elevator to +4. And there's our spot right there. So that is our A prime. Next, I'm going to do our B. So we're going to multiply B times -1. So our 4 times -1 again is -4. But our y is only 1 for this one. So I'm going to go to walk to 4 and go up to 1. And there's my point for my B. And then my last point is my C, originally at 2, which is going to be multiplied by -1. So I get -2. 1. So instead of going to +2, I'm going to walk to -2 up to 1, and there's my point for C prime. So when I connect my dots, you can see that my reflection is just a mirror image of what we had over there. So number 2 we do, this is an example where they haven't given us the chart, which they won't give you the chart for most of your examples. What you're going to have to do when you get one of these is to take each image, or I'm sorry, each coordinate on the image, and you have to name these points. So A, B, C, and D, you need to first name them. So we have A with a location of walk to -4 and up 1. For B, we're walking to -2 up 1. For C, we are walking to -1 down 2. And then for our final point D, we are going -4 down 3. So that's how you'll name your coordinates to start with. Next, you need to look at your rule. So this time, again, we're going to practice reflecting over the y-axis, which is going to be this up and down axis. And to do that, we're going to multiply each x coordinate and make it times 1 so that it becomes the opposite sign of what it is. So a prime is going to become, instead of -4, +4, 1. So I'm going to go to +4 up to 1 and put a dot. That's A prime. Next is my B prime. To do B prime, I'm going to look at my original x, which was at -2, and I'm going to make that times -1, so it becomes +2. So I'm going to go to +2 up to 1 and put a dot. That's my B prime. Next, for C prime, I'm going to do -1 times -1, which is +1. So I'm going to walk to +1, go down 2. There's C prime. And then finally for D prime, I'm going to take -4 and multiply times -1 to get +4, and still -3 for Y. So we walk to 4 and then down to 3 for our last point, and that's D prime. And then we can just connect the dots and our picture will be finished. So when you look at these, they should look exactly like a mirror reflection if you were to sit a mirror right there on that line. And the way you do that for a y-axis is by multiplying your x by -1. So now let's try one for an x-axis. So notice we're doing x-axis for this one. So we're going to cross out our y-axis up here, and we're just going to be using the rule for x. So when we want to reflect over our x-axis, this means that we're going to reflect over this axis. So instead of reflecting side to side, we're actually going to either be reflecting up or reflecting down. And to do this, instead of changing our x-coordinates, we're going to change our y-coordinates. So we're going to multiply our y by -1. So for each of these, it's going to be times -1 on our y. So our f prime, x is staying -4, but -2 is going to become -2 times -1, which is +2. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to erase this line. But I'm going to walk to -4 and then up 2. And that is my first dot for my f prime. It's kind of hard to see that, but oh well. For G, I am just going to keep my x at 1, and -3 is going to become +3. So I'm going to walk to +1, +3, and that's where my next dot's going to go, my next point, and that is for G prime. And then our final point of H, to go to H prime, we're going to keep x at -2, but -4 times -1 is going to become +4. So I'm going to -2 down, I lied, -2, +4. So I'm going up there. So there is H prime. And then to get that mirror image reflected on the x-axis, we just connect these dots. And there's our mirror image. And you can see that that time it is reflected across this axis, which is why we did a different rule. So I have number 4 as a you do, but I'm actually going to do it as a we do, and then you can do the last 3 as your you do's. But give the coordinates of 1, 4 after a reflection across the y-axis. So for the y-axis, we want to multiply, I don't even like putting that, let's put multiply, and you don't have to write this, but you're going to multiply your x by -1. So our original coordinate is 1, 4. So for a reflection on the y-axis, we're going to multiply this one right here times -1. So our coordinate prime is going to become 1 times -1, which is -1, and we're keeping our our y value as 4. So it stays 4, and that's the answer. So that's the way that you're going to do these. Make sure you're referring back to your rules that I've copied on each of these slides, but also you have them right in front of you on your paper. And go ahead and complete these last 3 you-dos, and make sure that you come bring them up and show them to Mrs. Painter so that you can get your 5 points credit for doing the lesson today.